If you're new to my channel, welcome. This is Cop Talk Live, changing cop culture, of the Officer Dominick Izzo channel here on YouTube. And I'm a retired cop from the state of Illinois, northwest suburbs of Chicago, certified cop for 19 years from 2001 to 2019. And my God, do I hate law enforcement today. And I really do. The purpose of this channel is to change cop culture, and I don't want you to mishear my words. And I actually want to speak to you for a second on something that you need to hear. Listen, one of the biggest messages I come across on a daily basis in my videos is that we have some really messed up police officers today on the street, many who seemingly don't even know what the First Amendment is on a constitutional right on a traffic stop is, and they still don't understand that you cannot base your issuance of a traffic stop on the attitude or the words of a driver if it's an opinion. And you do that, you're going to violate their constitutional right. You still got use of force issues that are above and beyond what's necessary, and that falls into the category that we've got untrained, out of shape, overly fat or weak cops, or even female cops out there who can't do the job. And I do these videos very discriminately because I believe that the people that you serve as police officers, they deserve the best version of you every day of the week and twice on Sunday. It's your profession. That's what you chose to do when you swore to honor that oath. I'm also very critical on the status of policing today. I'm very big on women cops being eradicated from the field, but more specifically, it's these female cops today that are social media influencers. We didn't have this in my day. Back around maybe 2013 through 2015, that's when you had the Officer Tommy Norman, Officer Daniels, Mike the Cop, even myself. We were big on Facebook, but we didn't have what we have today with these blue check marks out there, all parading around in their bikini, selling their fitness products and showing your best life ever and giving their level of expertise as a cop with 3 months on. And it blows me away. It's the social media influencer status days. And don't misjudge me. I'm not talking about women only, even though I target them. There's men out there too who do nothing more than parade around in their uniforms and lip sync to shit, all while making you think this is what a cop's life is. And no one will hate cops more than cops. And if anybody experiences this more than anybody, it's me on a daily basis. So I'm bringing to you my level of expertise and trying to give you something that you really need to hear from somebody, because you're not going to hear it from anybody else. You're going to get the anti-cop channels who don't support you, and you're going to get the pro-cop channels who support you. Listen, if you want to change the cop culture, if you want to improve the status, if you want to humanize the badge, then hear me out. You have to be humans first. And I want to tell you this very briefly. Last night, I went through one of the best things that's ever happened in the many years I've been on social media, and it was a catharsis that I never thought I really needed. If you've ever followed my story, I've done a very big breakdown of what happened from start being sworn in to the day I signed that letter saying I hereby no longer am an employee of this village, and I talked about all of it. I wrote a book too. You can go up looking up and buying it, and it's a moot point. But last night, and you're going to experience this as a cop, is when you put your opinions out there, your brother and sister in blue, they hate you. It is the single most toxic culture on the planet. The crab in the bucket theory is found exclusively defined in police work. They eat their own more than any other culture out there. So last night, and it happens all the time, I get cops just, not liking what I said, and they got to attack me back. And I went into my typical fight mode over something, and I started digging back into my past, old text messages, old fucking emails, old pictures, and I started putting stuff up online to defend the position. This is what I went through. This is what I went through. This is what I went through. And in that process, I started to look at shit that I didn't really go through. And I want you to hear me very carefully as police officers, because a lot of you're warrior badasses, and this is what's going to make or break you as a human being wearing that badge. I had massive unprocessed trauma that I didn't know I did. If you know my story, you know that I was a whistleblower for my department for their body camera spying on us. Big deal. I got a federal lawsuit. It took them 8 months after we filed the federal lawsuit. They fired me for a department policy violation. And then 3 years later, I was reinstated. My name was cleared, and then I retired. That's my story. And when you hear about it, oh, okay, great. It is what it is. And over the last several years, I always have to defend myself. You were a fired cop. And I go, tell the rest of the story. Oh, you were only this. Tell the rest of the story. Oh, you did. Tell the rest. And your fellow brothers in blue, they don't like to tell the rest of the story. But last night, I didn't tell myself the rest of the story. And I want you to hear me, because it's not about me. I really need you to hear this, because someday, if it hasn't happened already, it could be about you. Now, I was golden boy in my department. I was union president, fiduciary in the pension board, FTO, certifications all the way from juvenile officer, a top DUI enforcer, defensive tactics instructor, liaison for when the press came in. And it was great. I loved it. But I was fired. And I was the only cop on that department who had been fired in 20 years. Now, I'd been given a choice, resign or we're going to fire you. Many other cops were told to resign. I chose to be fired because ultimately I wanted to be vindicated. But it wasn't what happened then. It was the 8 months prior. Many of you are going to learn the hard way how you become such assholes on the field. It's not the people you deal with. You can handle the domestics every day of the week and twice on Sunday. You can handle the drunks. You can handle the brawls. You can handle, the angry Karens who are bitching that their neighbor over there, has got her garbage out past 2:00 in the afternoon on garbage day. You got all that. You can even handle your fellow cop out there who will look at what you do and then criticize you, say, well, you were never a city cop. 85% of you out there are suburban police officers who do more than New York, Chicago, and LA in your careers. You guys from start to finish take the calls, process the evidence, collect the witness statements, effect the arrest, write the report, transport to county, show up at court. You guys do all that. Glorified other departments that we always see on television, they're the hired security guards who show up in force and stand around the guard the scene for 8, 10, 12 hours and get overtime and do fucking nothing. So I'm speaking to you right now, the suburban cop who actually goes through this process. It doesn't matter how much you do for your department. One day, based off of a personality conflict, your command staff is going to have a problem with you. And they are going to fucking needle you to death. We have a lot of calls to action for police suicides all the time. And nobody ever talks about the root problem of police suicides. No, it's not the divorce at home. No, it's not a drinking problem. No, it's not a fucking gambling problem. No, it's not a fucking whatever it is. It's the command staff that pushed these cops to the point of having that path of water going to least resistance to creating a vice or a trauma or an issue at home that led them up to that. I can't emphasize this enough because the public will never understand this. The public will never understand how you do something and then you come to work that day and you've got a see me memo in your box. Or you've been told to write your report over again for the 12th time because it's not the way that your sergeant wanted it. Or maybe because you did something that wasn't exactly what the commander wanted, you find yourself out of the brand new squad car you were given, and all of a sudden now you're put in the one that's got no AC and the radio doesn't work, and it's 2:00 in the afternoon on afternoons in the middle of July where you're at. You know what I'm talking about. Some days your command staff talks to you, and then the next days they completely ignore you, and you're wondering why, and you're walking on eggshells, and you have no idea what's going on. And then to make things worse, your brethren behind you, your blue brotherhood, they're nowhere near you when it comes down time for you facing that the crosshairs. They're not on your back, but it's directly on your chest. And your blue brotherhood, they're gone. You will go through things. I had to examine last night in my fight or flight, putting things up for my defense online, old text messages, old emails, old photos of stuff, and I'm looking through it all. And I started to relive what people will never understand. During the process of my fighting with my department for a lawsuit, every single day we walked in, our stomachs would bubble and we would be sick with either diarrhea or vomiting because we knew command staff was fucking with us. There would be memos. There would be the shunning, the ostracization. There would be the 1019, come see me, and then you'd be made to wait in the hallway for 20 minutes while chief was doing whatever, and you had no idea what was happening. And they knew how to gaslight you. They knew how to sit there and work you all up and then come to you with a non-problem. I dealt with the threats. I dealt with my own chief of police looking at me going, I always win, right? And then wondering what the hell was going to happen. I dealt with the threats of the FBI. We're going to come to you and, they're going to wind up arresting you for disseminating breaking the chain of command and taking this past the chief to the mayor. When you try to do the right thing in law enforcement, the problem is you're going to be really crucified for it in your own, not with the public. So my case was extreme. I found out shit that we were doing in our department. It was not legal. It was not right. I exposed it. And I went through a lot of things that included everything I said, ripped out of the new squad car, reports being written all day. Explain to me, see me memo. Why did you write this guy a verbal warning on a traffic stop and get you? The biggest petty stuff ever was in my disciplinary file, including backing up other cops. Why did you do? I had to explain my actions almost every single day. And to some people, they're like, what's the big deal? But to those who know it, you know exactly what they're doing. They're Chinese waterboarding you until you go insane. My point being is, you're going to take that out, and you're going to take it out on the people. You're going to take it out on your loved ones. You're going to take it out on people that don't deserve it. And this is where the assholeness in you is going to come out. 9 years I sat on that. And I talked to, my most important person last night, and she and I were speaking, and I said I'd never really told anybody about the behind the scenes, how much hell this was, how we were literally tortured every day. We were terrified to the point we thought that if we went into the chief's office, considering the fact it was the only room that didn't have audio video surveillance, he was going to shoot and kill us. He ran Lake County Major Crimes Task Force. He knew how to fucking plant evidence and, write a good story. Oh no. Izzo drew down on me first. We were terrified on a daily basis over going after people who knew how to fuck cops over. And you guys go through this every single day. I will say this till I'm blue in the face. As much as I'm anti-female cop, I will tell you, command staff is the root of all problem in law enforcement. They're the ones that are putting the pressure on you, and that pressure is causing you to be dehumanized to go on the street and treat people like shit. Does the person who's a fucking scumbag and have an attitude problem deserve a traffic citation for going 15 miles an hour and over, or even 5 miles an hour when you pull them over? No, they probably don't. They probably don't, because it doesn't benefit you either way at all to begin with. It's a job. But your command staff will crucify if you don't do that. If you take a look and start asking yourself for your actions when you deal with people, what the root cause of your ego and emotions are, I will bet you it comes from a pressure from within your department. And the point being is, you're not alone. I want to talk today really briefly about the fact that I forgot that as much as I crucify cops out there, as much as I wind up vilifying what you guys do and what you shouldn't do and all this, I still do love the profession. And there's only one way the profession ever changes, and that's from you. But you can't be humanized. You can't expect the rest of us out there to look at you and give you a break when you're thumping people's heads off of a pavement that didn't deserve it, or dragging people out of their car because your ego is bruised because they had a tail light out, all because we know where the root problem comes from. And that's the pressure from within your departments. So you get disciplined, you get needled to death, you get pressured like crazy to perform, and then you're stuck in that squad car either by yourself for the most part, as is 85% of you who are alone on duty throughout the nation. You're not like Chicago, New York, or LA. You're single person squads. I get it. You have to start thinking about your mental health first and how that's going to wind up saving your life and your career and your family. You need to humanize the badge. You need to learn to step up, say no, take on your department. However that happens, I don't know. My contact information is always available, and it's out there. My direct line is 708-982-0974. I guess the purpose of this very long-winded message is, for the love of God, don't let what they do to you ruin you as a cop and ruin your fucking career. And your brothers and sisters in blue, the people online, they're going to hate you. I'm going to tell you something. It's because they haven't had their turn yet under the chopping block. They haven't. And I can't tell you how many times it's been blessed. Yeah, I can tell you. It's been 5 times. It has been 5 times where I have had people slide in my DMs and say, yeah, I know I shit all over you on social media the last couple of years, but I'm going through my department. I wonder if you can talk to me, help me out. Most of those times it's been, go fuck yourself. I have nothing to say to you. Just a couple of them. I've been like, all right, I'll listen. But the point being is, you get sandwiched from your fellow brothers in blue, which they're all a fucking joke, and other cops. No one hates cops more than other cops. And then the people on the street who hate you, they don't want to deal with you. You're there to take away their freedom or issue a citation, or worse yet, you're going to shoot somebody unarmed, right? That's all they see you as. Then you got your family life, the pressure there. But the cog, the biggest weight on you of all is going to be command staff. Because unlike the rest of those, the command staff is the center of where all of the decisions that affect your life are going to come to. They're the ones that could take your pay. They're the ones that could take your badge. They're the ones that could change your shift. They're the ones that can ruin your holiday plans. They're the ones that could deny your days off. They're the ones that could call you in. They have all the power in the world to do exactly what they want to ruin your life, and you know they do it on purpose. So many of you know damn well how much they fuck with you. And that goes ahead and it puts you in a shitty position where you take that abuse on the public because shit runs downhill, and then your family nags on you, and your brothers in blue aren't there for you, and you're left all by your own. Bottom line, I went through catharsis last night, and I finally had closure for the torture and the nightmare and the hell that I and my fucking coworkers dealt with back when we went through our stuff. And I never processed it. And I sat there and I thought there's got to be a ton of other people out there who go through this same damn thing. And I never really address it. So I know what it's like to be scared to go to work, even as a grown man who's a fucking warrior. I know what it's like to be walking into a department where your hands are shaking out of both rage and anticipation, and you're creating the worst things in your head that they don't even happen yet. And then your commander walks by with a grin on your face because he knows what he's doing to you, and nothing's happened. So you got all worked up for nothing. And then you go out there and you're worried about fucking up on a call or writing a report because you know, next thing you know, you're going to get a discipline in your file. And then you know what they could do to you, and you cannot sit there and process it in your mind. I'm a grown adult, and these people are they're doing this to me on a daily basis, constantly putting me in a state of fight or flight or apprehension, fear, and being terrorized. And guess what? That's the exact same thing that you do to the public. So ultimately speaking, you want to humanize the badge, you have to humanize yourself first. So if you want the public to look at you like you're worthy of being one of us, that we should care about you and whatnot, you have to remember who you are, remember who's putting the pressure on you, and stop taking it out on everybody else. And it starts with command staff. If I can ever do anything for you, you've got my direct line, 708-982-0974. You're going to get haters. You're going to get people who don't believe you. Your family's not going to understand anything. They're going to go, so what? Big deal. You got moved out of a squad car. What does that mean? You know what it means more than anybody else does. I went through the hell. I understand it firsthand. If I can ever help you out with anything, just let me know. But keep your head up. Humanize the badge by humanizing yourself. And remember the oath you swore, and serve the public. Don't take it out on them.